What is up, YouTube? Welcome to PanFro Games. In today's video, we're going to determine the worst Pokemon of every single type. Now, the Pokemon we're going to go through are going to be their final forms, unlike my previous video, which covered everything, which ended up being mostly baby Pokemon or some other low-tier Pokemon. We're going to go through the final forms and see which ones are actually hot garbage that you should never use in any sort of Pokemon Let's Play. Now, of course, guys, if you like this type of content, enjoy these videos, please leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it, and consider supporting the channel by joining PanFam. Maybe I join the channel member button below. So it's starting off with the normal types, and Spinda is the worst normal type Pokemon. So Spinda is a meme. This is a gimmick Pokemon from Gen 3. It has 60 in all of its stats for a total of 360 BST. The whole thing is because Spinda spins in circles. It's the dizzy Pokemon, and it's just not good. It's just never have gotten a buff in any way, shape, or form. They're going to keep Spinda in this 360 BST forever. Maybe we'll get an evolution one day. But also, its abilities, it really can't use too well. It does get contrary, which is interesting. But then you look at its moveset, and none of its moves really give it the contrary boost. So it doesn't really do anything with that. Also, horrible move pool. I mean, you're not going to be doing anything really 60 attack or 60 special attack. But your best move really is Double Edge. You have really no good options on the special side. I guess Uproar is your best bet. But besides that, it looks like this Pokemon's TM move pool has just never been updated since Generation 3. This Pokemon has been forgotten about and is an unfortunate mess, and it was such a mess, they even messed it up in Pokemon Home when you couldn't transfer it due to issues with the different patterns that Spinda can have. Next, we have Fire-type Pokemon, and oh man, is Magcargo the worst Fire-type Pokemon. Now, Magcargo is so bad. This is a Gen 2 cursed Pokemon, which is Pokemon in Gen 2 fail, like, just very unfinished and very weak compared to all other gens in general. Now, one, Magcargo is fire and rock, and this is some god-awful typing right here. You are 4 times weak to water and 4 times weak to ground. That's not going to really help you when your base speed is 30. So everything's just going to outspeed you and hit you with that. You're also weak to rock, and you're also weak to fighting. So you're really weak to a lot of the popular like attacking types in the game. Now, the other fun thing about Magcargo, not only will you outspeed it, it has pretty bad special defense, which is 80. It has good, it has good physical defense, 120 for sure. But like, it doesn't even have a damaging attack stat over 100. 50 attack is abysmal, which is really bad, and there's not a lot of good special rock type moves in general. And 90 special attack is workable, but you have 60 HP. You're just completely weak, and Slugma, if this was including all Pokemon, would be the worst fire type in general. Looking at the move pool here, your only option is to somehow survive turn 1, go for a Shell Smash, and just pray that you can hit a Flamethrower or a Ancient Power. I mean, you really don't have any options. I mean, you do have Power Gem at the very least, but once again, what are you doing with this Pokemon? It's just slow. You're gonna die. I mean, it's the evolved form of Slugma, these nuts Pokemon. It's just not great at all. Now for water types, Corsola from Gen 2 is trash. Now, its Galarian counterpart is better, but water and rock is a terrible typing. So you are 4 times weak to grass, which is horrendous, but you're also weak to electric, fighting, and ground. You have some decent resistances, but this Pokemon stats, once again, terrible, similar to Magcargo. 35 speed, everything's going to outspeed and just destroy you. 65 HP, okay, so you don't have a lot of bulk. Yeah, you have 95 defense, 95 special defense, but with all these weaknesses, you're not really going to survive long. I mean, you have 65 special attack, 55 attack. There's just nothing really going on with Corsola. I mean, once again, you do have a similar Gen 2 moveset where you get a lot of random things, but it feels like a moveset that hasn't really been updated in a very long time. Now, I guess as more of a special attacker here, a 65 over 55 does not get like really any good moves to justify. So you don't even have Shell Smash to actually boost. I mean, you have Rock Polish, but that's about it. I guess you can go for Calm Mind. I mean, I don't know how Corsola's going to be setting with Calm Minds, but hey, I mean, you could try it. I mean, you might use Corsola in a good meme video, but honestly, this is a terrible Pokemon, and I don't even think it's going to last long enough for you to use its hidden ability Regenerate. Now, for electric types, this is going to be a combination of Plusle and Minun. So both of these Pokemon should just not exist, right? They existed as a gimmick to introduce the double format to Generation 3. But both of these Pokemon are honestly horrendous. They are the worst Pikachu clones in general because they don't actually do anything unique outside of them being a pair together that you use in doubles. And they don't really get any good moves. I mean, they have the exact same moveset in general. Yeah, I mean, they get Nuzzle, but all the Pikachu clones get Nuzzle. They're mono electric. They don't evolve. They're just born like this, and that's about it. I mean, they get all the good electric moves, but so does the other Pikachu clones. I mean, Togedemaru has the steel typing. Pachirisu at least has won a world championship, all right? Like, what are we doing with Plusle and Minun here? I mean, they're just not great. Yeah, they just flip around their defensive stats a little bit, but they just suck. I don't know what to say. I don't know anyone who really likes these Pokemon in general. Now for our worst grass, it's going to be Parasect. Parasect in both Paras are absolutely atrocious Pokemon. Look at the weaknesses on this thing. 4 times weak to fire, 4 times weak to flying. And then you're also weak to ice, poison, bug, and rock. What is happening? Parasect can't go outside without like a bubble around it, or it's gonna get executed by just the basic elements out here, dude. He sees a little bird outside, it's over for this dude. If someone lights a lighter near him, he's cooked. Once again, 30 speed, absolutely abysmal speed, so you're gonna get outsped and everything's gonna destroy you. Sure, you have 95 attack, but you're never gonna get to use it because you get destroyed. Decent defenses, but low HP, so not really going to be able to do much. The only saving grace of his Pokemon is it does have Spore on it. So, I mean, that's cool. You can use Spore. You can put something to sleep. If something is somehow slower than Parasect, then sure, you deserve to put it to sleep, and probably you should die. But besides that, he doesn't really have anything. I mean, he doesn't have a great move pool. His best, like, physical attack, I guess it looks like X's are off the top here. Nothing's really great. Does he not even learn Leaf Blade? Oh, that's so bad. At least he has Swords Dance, but man, no Leaf Blade? Like, what's going on here? What are you going to do with that 95 attack? And also, you have the ability Dry Skin, which makes you even more weak to fire moves. So that's even more important. You can even be more weak to fire moves, which is freaking awesome. Now, the worst Ice-type Pokemon is easily Delibird. Another Gen 2 mistake. This Pokemon should have never existed. A gimmick for Christmas, but at what cost? 330 BST is atrocious. Ice and flying typing, terrible. You're 4 times weak to rock, you're weak to fire, weak to electric, and weak to steel. Don't really have a lot of resistances in general. You are immune to ground, but hey, ground types usually have rock type moves, so what are you doing out here? But it doesn't matter. When you have 45 defense, 45 special defense, and 45 HP, literally, that Parasect will probably somehow kill you, even though the Delibird can do 4 times super effective damage to it. Like, it has no stats. And it's a special attacker with 65, 75 speed is like, okay. But then you look at the move pool, and all it knows is Drill Peck and Present. So without just using TMs or egg moves, it gets literally nothing here. And Present is a random RNG move. You can literally heal the opponent with this move, for the signature move. So it is absolutely terrible. It does get some decent, like, special attacking moves, though. So it's not, like, completely, like, has no moves at all. But nothing that makes it a viable Ice type or even a Flying type Pokemon. Delibird's so bad, it almost became the worst Flying type Pokemon. But it was so much worse as an Ice type Pokemon, it had to represent this slot here. Now, Crabominable is the worst fighting type Pokemon. And I'll have to say, it's actually hard to find a really bad fighting type Pokemon. They're all pretty good. But the reason why I ended up picking Crabominable as the worst fighting type Pokemon is because that Ice typing is doing it no favor. So it already has some of the lower BSTs on the scale, but that Ice typing adds really nothing to it outside of an Ice resist. Now you're weak to fire, you're weak to fighting, you're weak to flying, psychic, steel, and fairy. What you have 6 weaknesses and only 3 resistances, and you're really slow. 43 speed, horrendous. Everything's gonna outspeed you. And yet, you have not great bulk either. 77 defense, 67 special defense. Yeah, okay, 97 HP is decent, and 132 attack is good, for sure. And you have Anger Point as a hidden ability, which is very nice. Iron Fist, Hyper Cutter, actually solid abilities on this Pokemon. Like I said, hard to find a really bad fighting type, but it just doesn't have what it needs. You know, all those weaknesses, they're going to get outsped by a lot of things, and the only thing this Pokemon is ever going to be good at is getting hit by a critical hit in a raid, and then getting that Anger Point and potentially going for a one-hit KO. But even then, it is not the premier choice. It gets outclassed by pretty much every other Anger Point Pokemon, and it's just not a Pokemon I could recommend in a regular playthrough. It does have a decent move pool in general, though, but it doesn't matter when you're already dead. Now, the worst Poison-type Pokemon is Dustox. Dustox, you're looking at 4 weaknesses: Fire, Flying, Psychic, and Rock. Not actually too bad on the weakness side, but what makes this Pokemon really bad, and I didn't even realize this, is Dustox only has 50 attack and 50 special attack. This Pokemon is so objectively worse than Beautifly in general. Between your options of Beautifly and Dustox, why would you ever pick Dustox? Yeah, Compound Eyes, actually pretty good ability for sure. Boost the Pokemon's accuracy. That's great, but you're really slow, bad defenses, besides the special defense, and then like your attack options are terrible. So Dustox is what, a stall Pokemon, Toxic Stall, and that's about it. But once again, you have a really bad move pool. I mean, I guess you could do Leech Life and like be physical. I mean, you got Quiver Dance, so you can Quiver Dance and hit the Giga Drain, but like he has no special attacking moves. Like, okay, Bug Buzz, he gets Sludge Bomb. All right, Bug Buzz, Sludge Bomb, Quiver Dance. All right, I mean, he has a set, but there's not a lot going on. I mean, it's gonna be like, I guess you put Giga Drain for the HP recovery, and that's about it. It's just a very one-dimensional Pokemon. I think this Pokemon's a lot cooler in the anime, but overall, it's pretty garbage. Now, the worst ground-type Pokemon, I think, is Wormadam in the Sandy Cloak form. Now, this is very similar to fighting types. It's hard to pick a bad ground-type Pokemon, because ground-type Pokemon, there's not actually a lot of them. There's like the least of them in the game are ground-type Pokemon, but they're actually all pretty decent. But what stands out to me is this Pokemon just had, like, the bug typing doesn't add anything to the ground typing that I think is really productive. I mean, now you're weak to fire, and now you're weak to flying, right? And, you know, that's, like, you didn't really need that. Like, the resistances you get don't really help it too much, in my opinion. He's also weak to water and ice as well, too, which are some very strong attacking types. So Wormadam's Sandy Cloak doesn't get a lot of great defensive options. It does have a really huge physical defense stat, which is nice. It has a decent physical attack stat at 79, decent special defense, but once again, a slow 36 mon with not necessarily the best typing. And the thing is, once again, your best thing is Quiver Dance. So you're going to be using that special attack stat more than your physical, because you're going to be setting up that Quiver Dance. You don't have Swords Dance. You don't have Bulk Up. You just have to use Quiver Dance, Bug Buzz, and then hit with like an Earth Power, which, I mean, that's pretty much your best thing, unless it suddenly does not get Earth Power. Oh, this thing doesn't get Earth Power? So what is the point? What is the point? No, this Pokemon sucks. How do we not have Earth Power when you have Quiver Dance? I was trying to think of at least making a decent set with this thing. So physical will be terrible. Oh man, I mean, I guess we're going to be running Bug Buzz, Psychic, which is weird, and I guess Shadow Ball or Giga Drain, and yeah, that's, wow. They should call this a Trash Cloak, because this is really terrible. Now, Psychic type, easy. Unknown. Unknown, why? Because it's unknown, terrible stats, overall garbage, only knows Hidden Power. Hidden Power literally doesn't even exist anymore, so who the hell knows what they're going to do with this Pokemon in the future. But yeah, unknown, terrible. Gimmick was meant to sell you 26 Pokemon cards and make you waste 26 minutes of your life. Next up is flying types, and I would say Cantoine Farfetch'd is the worst. Now, he actually has some good abilities, I'll say. You know, Keen Eye, Inner Focus, Defiant, actually all really solid. But he doesn't have really good defenses at all. Normal flying isn't great typing either. It doesn't really do you much favors. But I mean, you're weak to electric, ice, and rock. But, you know, 52 HP, bad. 55 defense, bad. 62 special defense, bad. 60 speed, bad. The only stat that stands out is the 90 attack. But it didn't really get the love that its Galarian counterpart really got out here. And it hasn't been in a Pokemon game in a minute. But it's not, I mean, it doesn't have a lot. I mean, yeah, your best, I mean, you got Leaf Blade, you got Brave Bird, like, okay, Swords Dance, I believe it does get, like, okay, it has some things, but it's just like, why would you ever use this Pokemon? The thing about Farfetch'd, this is one of those Gen 1 Pokemon where it was never even good in Gen 1. It was always outclassed by things like a Pidgeot or like a Fearow. Like, why would you ever pick up Farfetch'd as your flying type in Generation 1? When it has no evolution, and it still doesn't have an evolution. They gave it to Galarian Farfetch'd, which is a way better Pokemon, and it just, I mean, I guess if you like Peking Duck, this is a good Pokemon for you. The worst bug type is Ledian. This is one of the funniest Pokemon of all time. Has Iron Fist as its hidden ability. Boost the power of punching moves. 35 physical attack. What is happening? What happened? Game Freak, what happened? Why do you hate Gen 2 Pokemon so much? Literally, this could have been fixed. Why 35 attack, Iron Fist? And like sort of its signature move is, I believe, Comet Punch, which is like hilarious because it's a terrible move as well. And it has 35 attack. Yeah, sure, Iron Fist boost, but like it's a terrible move, terrible everything. Sure, it has Swords Dance. Swords Dance with my 35 attack is going to do me great. I mean, sure, you get Bug Bite and Aerial Ace. Cool, man. Yeah, I don't know. Ledian needs... this is a mistake. Like, this is a Pokemon flaw mistake that has continued on since like 1999, and I don't know why they haven't fixed it. This is not even like give it a new evolution. Like, sure, you could do that, but at least fix its stats. Like, this is just not a good like, it has nothing. It has nothing. I mean, it has 5 weaknesses, 4 times weak to rock. Oh my god, this is a terrible Pokemon. No, the worst rock type is Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo has 5 weaknesses out here: water, grass, fighting, ground, and steel. Once again, it's sort of weird to like find the worst rock because like rock is a great physical offensive type, but a terrible defensive type. However, there's not a lot of really awful rock type Pokemon, but Sudowoodo to me ends up being the worst for a couple reasons. First one, Sudowoodo and Bonsly are dex fillers, and they should just not be included in the dex. I think they hurt the Gen 2 dex more. We don't need more punishment on the Gen 2 dex. Also, 30 speed, so very slow. Not great. Very bad special defense. Has good physical attack and good physical defense at the very least. So it's not like a completely useless Pokemon. It can definitely do some things. And I believe it actually does it knows Iron Defense, so it can further increase its physical defense. It has some decent moves. It actually isn't the worst Pokemon in general, but out of rock-type Pokemon, it's just like other Pokemon have higher physical attack, have higher physical defense, and they just are also honestly faster. I mean, I guess the best thing about Sudowoodo is you have Sturdy, so you can just like hit him with a Stone Edge on turn 1, and then turn 2 hit him with like a Sucker Punch, and that's probably the best way to play this Pokemon. But at the end of the day, it's just, you know, outclassed by everything else. Shedinja is the worst ghost type Pokemon. Another type where it's really hard to figure out what the worst of is, because ghost type Pokemon in general are really great. However, why is Shedinja so bad? Because one, yes, it has Wonder Guard. It can only get hit by super effective attacks, right? However, it is weak to fire, flying, rock, ghost, and dark. So 5 weaknesses, and some of those are pretty common attacking types that a lot of Pokemon will specialize in. Number 2, this Pokemon literally only has 1 HP, right? And not only will it take damage from those moves, those types, it will take damage from Sandstorm. It will take damage from Burn. It will take damage from hitting itself in Confusion. So there are other ways to kill it. Oh yeah, Stealth Rocks, Spikes, Poison, Toxic Spikes. So many ways to get around Shedinja. People would think, oh yeah, this Pokemon's broken because of Wonder Guard. Not really. Not really. You have 6 Pokemon on your team, and a lot of things can definitely hit it. Unless you completely wall the other Pokemon, then Shedinja is like, you know, pretty bad otherwise. And look at its moves. You have 40 speed. You're like, okay, I walled that Pokemon, and then they switch in their new one, and then they kill me. It's over. They outsped me. I don't know. You have to like set up a million things and make it work, and it's just really not worth it whatsoever, but it is a cool gimmick Pokemon at the very least. Has some good flavor. But a worst dragon type Pokemon is going to be Flapple. Now, another type where it's hard to isolate a really bad dragon type, but my main reason for Flapple is the grass typing is horrendous. Now, 4 times weak to ice is awful because you're already facing a dragon, you're already preparing your ice types, but then you're weak to poison, you're weak to flying, bug, dragon, and fairy. So we are looking at 6 weaknesses, with one of them being a 4 times weakness, which is absolutely abysmal. Now, this Pokemon, yeah, has good physical attack at 110, but it has a really high special attacking stat, which is terrible because it removes from its HP, its defense, its horrendous special defense, which, you know, a lot of these types are going to try to hit on the special side. And its speed isn't that fast. You would think this Pokemon would be like base 90, base 100 speed. But unfortunately, it just gets outclassed by both Appleton and Hydrapple easily. But especially Appleton is just a better Pokemon with better abilities that you would pick in Generation 8 over this. And I mean, you get some decent moves, but not a lot of moves in general, though. I mean, you're a physical attacker, right? So, okay, Grab Apple is going to be your big in play. Your evolution move is Wing Attack. That's hilarious. Okay, so what? We're going to be hitting Grab Apple. I guess we're going to be running no item with Acrobatics, so that's fun. And I guess Outrage. I don't know. Do we not get Dragon Claw? Wow. Okay. No Dragon Claw. This is awesome. What a great Pokemon. I guess you got Dragon Dance, but sure, man, you don't even have Dragon Claw. You have to use Outrage as your dragon move and be locked in and switch into a fairy. That's going to be horrendous. All right, the worst dark type Pokemon is Mightyena. So for this, I was like, it's either going to be Mightyena or Alolan Raticate. But Alolan Raticate actually has a better stat spread across the board, even with less BST. I think it's a better Pokemon, and it also just has better abilities. Now, Mightyena, the big thing is Mightyena also doesn't really have any good setup moves. So yeah, you are a dark type. Mono Dark is pretty decent, only 3 weaknesses. And its stats are pretty middling across the board. 90 attack, okay, sure. But like, you don't need 60 special attack. But the thing is, this Pokemon does not get Bulk Up. It does not get Swords Dance, but it gets Nasty Plot. So you're just gonna like run it special. I guess it's going to be Intimidate Mightyena with special attacking Nasty Plot, because that's where you're going to get most of your damage from. But you don't learn a single special attacking move on level up. It's all going to be physical. And your best dark type move is going to be Sucker Punch and Crunch. So like, okay, I mean, pretty decent stuff there. I guess you get the Fang moves on physical. But once again, no Swords Dance, no Bulk Up. Alolan Raticate, I believe, has at least Swords Dance. So at least you got something there. But on the special side, you're going to be using Nasty Plot, Dark Pulse, Snarl, and Mud Slap or Hyper Voice. I don't know. It's just not good, man. It's just, I mean, at least the Shiny's decent. But yeah, Mightyena, this is a Pokemon that absolutely needs an evolution in Generation 10 or something, or PLZA, because it really needs. Now, the worst Steel type is going to be Alolan Sandslash. Now, I do love the design of this Pokemon. And yeah, it's actually pretty solid on snow teams with Slush Rush. But the big thing is, you have 2 4 times weaknesses, and you're weak to ground. But a lot of resistances. I mean, it's hard to find a bad Steel type Pokemon, but 4 times weak to fire, 4 times weak to fighting are very common attacking types, and that's going to be brutal. You don't survive this whatsoever. And I mean, yeah, you have Slush Rush, so, you know, in the snow, your base 130 speed, right? Your speed gets double. But if without the snow, this Pokemon, really useless. I mean, 65 speed, 65 special defense. Don't hit me with a special move or I die. 100 attack is pretty solid, and 75 HP is on the bad side. Of course, that good 120 defense. But overall, I mean, it has a good moveset. It's just, you know, Steel type Pokemon are known to be great switch-ins, and it doesn't feel like to be a great switch-in when you have 2 4 times weaknesses to 2 of the most common attacking types out there in general. And I'm just not the biggest fan of that. Also, when it comes to ice, well, those are the right one. We're gonna ice moves. I mean, yeah, you get like Icicle Crash, Swords Dance. You get some good stuff here. Icicle Spear is pretty decent too. So you do get some good moves for ice type stuff. But in general, I just think you're better off picking a different Pokemon for a Steel type on your team. And I mean, hey, it's not the worst ice type. That's Delibird. Now, lastly, the worst fairy type is gonna be Shatonic. Now, similar it's hard to really figure out the worst fairy type. But I think Shatonic sort of fits the bill here, because that grass typing does not help fairy, because you are 4 times weak to poison, which sucks. And you're weak to fire, you're weak to ice, you're weak to flying, and you're weak to steel on top of that, which is really not that great in general. Now, you have 30 speed, so once again, everything's going to outspeed you and hit you before you can do anything to it. So you got to hope you have Effect Spore on and it puts it to sleep from the Effect Spore, or something like that. You have low base HP of 60, and 80 defense and 100 special defense is actually pretty good, and 90 special attack is actually pretty decent as well. But the big thing is about Shatonic is if this Pokemon did not have Spore, it would be over. Spore is the only reason why this Pokemon is remotely decent to me. If it has Spore, it can put something to sleep, and then it can like spam String Snap and like get its HP back and lower your physical attack at the end of the day. But that's about it. I mean, it doesn't really hit hard. I mean, I guess Draining Kiss, Giga Drain, like okay. I guess, I mean, okay, Sludge Bomb. I mean, it can heal a Pollen Puff. That's cool and doubles. But yeah, it's not. It's just, I don't know. It doesn't have a nice variety move pool. It has like a very standard move pool for a grass fairy type Pokemon in general. And I just think the only thing that's really propping this Pokemon up is the combo of Spore and String Snap. That's his only niche. But you remove that niche, it's pretty bad at the end of the day. Well, there we have it, guys. That is my opinion on all 18 types and the worst Pokemon of each type. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or disagree, or let me know what you would put for a different type if you don't agree with a certain type of mine. But of course, guys, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. I really appreciate it, and catch you guys next time. Peace out and have a good one.